High winds across Kentuckiana today. You see that flag blowing in those winds. This is a live view from our Hurstbourne camera. And I wonder, Doug, if you look closely, can you see some snowflakes?
Hey, that's some exciting news, Shay. I was out in it, got hit by the sleet. I've been waiting for it to turn to snow. Let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Ben Pine. So, Ben, you're not taking snow off the table yet, are you?
No, not at all. Yeah, we will have snow showers moving through this evening. We've already had some snow reports up to the northwest of Louisville, around Bedford, Indiana. So we're now on the backside of this very large storm system, but close enough to the core of it, just to our northeast, that we are still looking at some strong winds. A wind advisory continues until 7 p.m. As we zoom in a little bit closer, we've got some light mixed precipitation across the area and seeing more of that switch over to snow just out to the west, northwest of Louisville, around English, Paoli, and Bedford. Notice these darker bands right here. That might put down just a little bit of a dusting, especially on elevated surfaces, but minimal impact from any of the snow showers with above freezing temperatures and those strong winds out there here for this evening. But definitely bundle up. Temperatures in the 30s this evening, wind chills in the 20s, and overnight low temperatures around freezing, wind chills in the upper teens. So very cold start to our Thursday, but we at least have some sunshine tomorrow afternoon with upper 40s. There you can see it is still really blowing out there with that wind chill at 26 and 27, wind gust at 36 miles per hour, and all the wind chills here pretty much starting to drop down into the 20s. So that forecast with some snow showers, light snow showers tonight down to near freezing, lower 40s at noon tomorrow. And with that sunshine, we're below normal with highs in the upper 40s. But after the storm moves away from us, we've actually got a big warm up coming up in that 7-day forecast.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
President Donald Trump last night during his joint address to Congress celebrating the new tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China. The president and fellow Republicans are defending the trade war now, with some of the country's allies saying that they will help level the playing field.
However, economists claim these new taxes against foreign goods could end up hurting Americans with higher costs. According to the Yale Budget Lab, the average household could end up shelling out up to $2,000 more each year with these tariffs in place. The U.S. stock market tanked Tuesday after the tariffs went into effect. They did, however, open up higher this morning. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick signaled that Trump is open to compromising with Canada and Mexico. Meanwhile, House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries believes that the president's actions will only further hurt Americans.
I think there'll be some movement. It will not eliminate the tariffs. It will not eliminate the tariffs, but it might modify the tariffs somewhat.
We're seeing the consequences of Trump's inattention, inaction, and now his direct assault on a stable economy by enacting these tariffs. Costs are going to continue to go up, and the American people will be hurt.
Trump is blaming Canada, Mexico, and China for the fentanyl crisis in the United States. He says that one of the main reasons for this is the tariffs.
So now we have a full-blown trade war underway. President Donald Trump is already providing exemptions to lessen the impact for American companies, specifically the automakers.
We spoke with the big three auto dealers. We are going to give a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA. Reciprocal tariffs will still go into effect on April 2nd, but at the request of the companies associated with USMCA, the president is giving them an exemption for 1 month.
That is the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt there, unveiling relief for Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. Leavitt mentioning Trump is open to additional exemptions. Prior to the announcement, the Canadian finance minister said Canada is only interested in removed tariffs. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum said that her country will look for other trade partners if necessary now. And the Chinese embassy in the United States posting on X saying if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end. And now here at home, more than 23,000 Kentucky bourbon jobs are threatened by retaliatory tariffs, according to the Kentucky Distillers Association. The retaliation comes in response to Donald Trump's tariffs on America's closest trading partners.
Canada's two most populous provinces, Quebec and Ontario, are both taking U.S. alcohol off of the liquor shelves. Our Ian Hardwick sees how that is affecting the shelves here in Louisville and what it means for bourbon makers.
So what we've noticed, there's going to be more opportunity for consumers to pick up a good deal on a bottle of bourbon. Now, that's going to hurt the producer. That's going to hurt the employees. So the small guys are the ones that are really hurting. Guys that are selling 4 to 6 year old bourbon for about 50, 60 bucks are just getting washed.
As a liquor retailer for nearly 20 years, Sam Correa sees another opportunity opening up for a different domestic drink. So while American whiskey comes off the shelves in Canada, here at Bottle Shop and Tasting Room, the Canadian whiskey will move to this empty shelf to make way for So Tall, a domestically produced product that's a little bit like tequila. But the American market for bourbon is already saturated. Global sales help offset that. Bro Brothers Distillers relied on Canada for nearly 5% of its sales.
I don't know if anybody's going to be able to absorb that. So we're definitely going to have to make some adjustments there.
So he's eyeing expansions in states like New York.
I think for sure that's one thing we have to pivot on. So maybe it's a matter of doubling down domestically. So we're in 23 states now, so maybe it's time to go look at those other 27 states.
The University of Louisville's Economics Department Chair, Professor Jose Fernandez, says these tariffs follow a troubling trend for the bourbon industry, fewer younger people picking up alcohol.
Kentucky Bourbon's already had a couple of bad years in a row. They did have a nice little break in 2023, and a lot of that break came because the EU actually backed off of their own retaliatory tariffs during the first Trump administration.
He expects the EU will slap the bourbon industry with at least a 25% tariff come March. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11, on your side.
Countries, especially the European market, the Asian market, other markets there where the bourbon industry has really been hoping the continued growth would stay alive. What did you find out about, especially places like India?
India specifically has an exemption just for Kentucky U.S. bourbon. It was 150% last month. That's on track with all other U.S. alcohol. Now it's 100%, but that 50% differential, Victor Yarbrough of Bourbon Brothers Distillers, he said that 50% doesn't really do a lot to bring him to the table. He was trying to figure out an India deal 18 months ago, and he said that 50%, it's not really going to make much of a difference.
So that's the tariff, 100%.
100% tariff on bourbon.
All right, thank you very much. Well, the Trump administration plans to cut 80,000 employees, we learned today, from the Veterans Affairs, the agency that provides health care for retired military members. The department's chief staff sharing the objective is to cut enough workers to return to 2019 staffing levels of just under 400,000. This move comes after the VA expanded its size during the Biden administration. More than 25% of the agency's workforce are veterans themselves. The job cuts are set to take effect coming up in August.
And this is just into the WHAS11 newsroom. The Nelson County Sheriff Raymond Pineroa has been indicted on multiple counts, including theft and official misconduct. A grand jury indicted him on 6 different counts. Court documents allege he abused the public's trust by taking more than $10,000 in public funds. Documents say the sheriff allegedly stole at least $20,000 in checks from 2 people in 2024. It also alleges Pineroa coerced and discriminated against 2 employees this year. Pineroa started his career in Nelson County in 2006. He is scheduled to be arraigned on these new criminal charges on March 20th.
Now, we have new information here at 5. We are now today talking to the lead federal investigator in the deadly Givaudan factory explosion in the Clifton neighborhood that rocked this community in November late last year. It comes as the U.S. Chemical Safety Board released its initial findings, pointing to issues with the valves used to relieve pressure from the tank that blew up.
And today they are telling Isaiah Kim Martinez that they're looking into whether a hazardous chemical reaction could have been the root cause.
Isaiah is joining us here now, and Isaiah, I know they're also looking at the response right after the explosion. We're not talking about the emergency workers' response, but the company itself.
Exactly. What happened in the moments directly after that explosion? Shay and Doug, we know that all of this, all emergency response efforts are under the microscope here to determine whether the U.S. Chemical Safety Board should recommend changes in a final report that may take until next year to finish.
When personnel evacuated and were accounted for.
For the first time, we're hearing directly from the lead federal investigator in the deadly Givaudan explosion case. Tank 6, the tank that blew up and landed on a nearby street, had heated to 385 degrees and the pressure also soared.
You can see the pressure got up to 237 psi, which is a very, very high pressure inside of this reactor.
Lauren Grimm from the U.S. Chemical Safety Board just released their initial breakdown, pointing to the issues with the valves used to relieve pressure from Tank 6. This photo in the investigative report shows that vent still closed after the explosion.
But what we did find that the vent valve was closed after the incident when we inspected it. When the data indicates it should have been open. So exactly what failed here, we're still trying to understand that.
Grimm told us they're looking closely at whether there was a hazardous chemical reaction in that tank and who's to blame.
Was there a decomposition of one of the chemicals that produced gases and released heat to lead to the temperature rise?
Could the age of the tank have played a role?
We are looking at the relief system and the relief sizing, which isn't necessarily an age issue, it's a design of the vessel. So that's still something we're going to try to understand.
And again, I'm told the complete findings here, including a root cause, will likely take several more months. Doug Shea.
All right.